Hello and welcome to an exclusive hour-long programme with me, Alex Belfield, talking to two international megastars. And I don't get to say that very often. It's always nice to talk to people who have changed the world musically. And Benny Andersson is one of these people. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Welcome to Stockholm.
It's so exciting to be in the place where you created this music. Do you feel playing your music is more interesting than talking about it?
You're right.
What type of a man are you? Are you a man that would rather have your music speak for you, or are you happy to do this?
I'm happy to talk to you. You know, it's very seldom actually one gets to talk about music, which is, for a good reason. It's quite difficult to talk about what's in it. And it's a boring thing to tell you about how it works, because it works the same. You know, I'm a sort of a 9 to 5 guy, or I'd say 10 to 5. And every song through the years has come up exactly the same way. It's like sitting at the piano, either me or Bjorn and I together during the ABBA days, and just waiting for something to come around and sort of pick it up when it flies by. I don't know how it works. If I knew, it wouldn't take so long, you know. But so people always ask us, well, can you tell me something about how Dancing Queen came up, or Fernando? It's always the same thing.
How much rubbish is there compared to the genius?
Well, I don't know if there's a genius, but it's a lot of, let's say it's a 95% rubbish. More. It's more than 95% to the good stuff. I did a calculation like a year ago, and I was trying to find out how many hours of music I have achieved during the years from 1966 or whatever it was when I started. And the calculation came out to like maybe 3 minutes a month. I never know if it's going to be a hit. I only know if I like it. And that's what I go by. Only that and nothing else. And if I'm unsure, like now, I have been working on my own now for, I don't know, 20 years. And I can often make up my own mind. I say, this is good stuff, let's work on this. If I'm hesitant, I would ask someone I trust to say, listen to this, have you heard this before? Someone else did this, or is it for real, you know? So, but it's really the process is getting rid of what's not talking to you. And why it is, and why I keep what I keep, I don't know.
And is it a case of tweaking? If you have a rubbish song, can you make it brilliant, or do you just have to throw it away and start again?
You can't make anything good out of rubbish, I think. Now, some people might say that everything that we do is sort of rubbish, but I don't feel that way. I think it's good stuff. Many of the songs, some of them, I mean, obviously, they're not all good songs, thank God. So some old songs make me sort of blush a bit. But on the other hand, at the time, we thought that was okay. And at the time, in the beginning with ABBA, we didn't have time. We had 1 day a week in the studio, and we had to get things done, and we had to sort of release an album. And in the beginning, we had to squeeze in stuff that we maybe weren't that pleased with, but just in order to get things moving, you know.
Are there songs you're still excited to hear on the radio, or are you a bit tired of them all now?
When I work on stuff, you know, like in the middle of a process of a recording with my band, for example, or when I worked with the Mamma Mia soundtrack for the movie, it's constantly on. In the studio, in the car, at home, to be in the process, not to sort of let anything sort of slip out the window without sort of taking notice of it. And but after that, once it's done, once it's in the can and it's sort of a CD exists, it disappears for me. I never listen to it again.
All right, we'll take a piece of music and we'll be back with Benny Andersson. We're going to find out about your life and career and what you're doing today, because it's as interesting what you're doing now as you did in the 70s. The difference is the 70s stuff is still being played everywhere as much as your new stuff. We're going to find out why later on in the programme. We'll be back with Benny Andersson next. We're back on your favourite local radio station talking to the stars of ABBA, and the stars really are the guys that wrote it and put it together, but there's only 50% of the group still talking about it. Do you wish the girls still had a voice and wanted to talk about it? They've kind of gone away from it and said ABBA's in the past.
Well, ABBA is in the past. I tried really, really hard to sort of put that behind me, but when Mamma Mia happened, it was unavoidable. I mean, all of a sudden it all it all was around ABBA and the old records and the Mamma Mia thing. So it's been impossible to avoid. But I think you can talk to the girls. It's just a matter of sort of getting hold of them, you know. One's out there somewhere and one is living here in Stockholm. I don't think that they're reluctant to talk about the old days.
And when you see the videos of you guys then, or hear those ABBA records on the radio now, does it seem like a different person?
I feel the same. I don't even feel older though I am, you know. It's no, it feels all right. It's like we were putting on something occasionally, like clothes, to sort of just to make a little splash, you know. Apart from that, no, I think it's most of the stuff is okay. Most of it, not all of it.
How do you stay humble today? Because there isn't a place in the world where your music hasn't been or is not still currently being played. There aren't that many artists that could be current 30 years after they release their songs.
Well, I'm not that humble, but I think it helps if you realize that why this all happens is just, it's pure luck, because it's a gift, right? Being able to choose good stuff from bad stuff, trying to write music, and at the same time being on the same level as an audience. That's pure luck. Talent is luck. The rest is hard work. So I'm proud of the hard work, which is not like working in the coal mine, but it's still, it's as we spoke about earlier, it takes a long time to achieve something good. And for that I'm proud, and that's why I'm not so humble. But when it comes to the talent that has been put on me and all the other guys, that's pure luck, and there's nothing to brag about.
It's interesting, because if you think of songs like Dancing Queen or Mamma Mia, they could become very cheesy and be just played as a joke. Did you ever worry about that? Because you make fun of your own music in Mamma Mia, the stage show, and the movie, of course, but it's still a great tune. And you talk about the look. I think look will only take you so far in getting played repeatedly.
Well, we always thought we did good stuff. Nothing cheesy about that, you know. We did exactly what we wanted to do. Now, what you refer to as a sort of could be cheesy must have to do with the lyrics. Has nothing to do with the music as such. Don't you agree? And I've never been involved in writing lyrics. I only care for the music itself. And as long as the lyric sits together with the music nicely, fine with me. I don't care if it's called Mamma Mia or Fernanda or Dancing Queen or whatever, as long as it sort of runs along with what the melody is, you know. And no, I must say that we were and are really sincere about the stuff that we've been writing, and very proud of it.
All right, we'll come back next with more from Benny Andersson. We're going to ask next, what makes a good tune? We're back with Benny Andersson on your favourite local radio station, talking to the star of ABBA, the man who sat down at the piano and created Dancing Queen and Mamma Mia, Thank You for the Music, and all these great tunes that everybody can sing. That's where I think you're a genius. You write tunes that people who are not musical can remember.
What do you want me to say? I don't know. I don't know why it is a good tune. I know that I think it's a good song. You know, I'd say, this is good. This does not exist. It has identity, and I like it. Well, there's no recipe. If there was one, I mean, it would be an easy task, wouldn't it? It's not. It's just a matter of sort of trying to use what you've been given to make good choices, and never give up. And don't give away stuff that does not rhyme with that doesn't rhyme with what I feel. You know. That would be a disaster, because then you have nothing to hang on to. If you know you like the stuff, you know that there's something about it that make you sort of release it at all. If you're doing guesswork, you're in deep, man.
And as for hearing the ABBA songs on the radio now, is it still as much of a thrill hearing them talked up as they were 30 years ago?
I think some of them sounds pretty good to be so old, you know. I think it has. I mean, we spend a lot of time in the studio, which many other bands did too. And Michael Tretto was a great sound engineer, and we never gave up until we were all happy, the three of us, Michael and Bjorn and myself. And that pays off today, I think. Some of the recordings are really good. I think a song like Knowing Me, Knowing You, or Dancing Queen.
It's interesting, Knowing Me, Knowing You, when you look at Alan Partridge, and he made that song popular with his Aha. Yeah. Is that a compliment?
I think so. I think it's fun, you know? I haven't seen that show. I'm a foreigner, you know.
But you've heard about it.
I heard about it, yeah. You know, did someone tell you about when we had the first preview of Mamma Mia? When Sam is singing Knowing Me, Knowing You to Sophie, they decided, the director and whoever said, let's take the ahas away. You know, Knowing Me, Knowing You. So the ahas was taken away from the show. And when the first preview came, he came to the chorus and he was singing Knowing Me, Knowing You, and the audience went, aha. So we put it back in.
And it's still there today. All right, we're going to take a piece of music. We'll take that one, Knowing Me, Knowing You, here on your favourite local radio station. We're back with Benny Andersson on your favourite local radio station. You're musical, and that's not surprising, because when I read your biog, Dad was a musician and Granddad was a musician, and you were surrounded by the accordion and how to play instruments, and that led to the piano, did it?
Yes, it did. I was taught to play the accordion. Well, my father and grandfather just did it for fun. They were not professional musicians. And I had one when I was 6, and I was obviously a good learner. So when I was on my 10th birthday, my parents bought a piano for me and my sister. And I used it, you know. You can play the accordion, you can play the piano, and you use your left hand like you do with your bass side on the accordion. And from there, I just kept on working. I think that's the trick, though. You know, so if you have a talent, if you realize, I don't think when you're so young, you don't know. You just feel that this is fun. This is what I want to do. So I was sitting at that piano hours and hours every day. And I'm still sitting at the piano every day for hours and hours since I was 10. And I think if you do that, something good must come out of it. And I think it goes for every good musician, every composer, everyone. If you start really early, and if you are in the middle of the thing of music and you enjoy that, something good comes out of it.
How much is down to hard work, and how much is an energy that comes to you from somewhere else?
Well, it's a tricky thing, that, isn't it? I wonder what it is, because the thing is that when it happens, I know what it is, but I can't make it happen unless I sit there for hours and hours playing, letting my hands go, trying to hear something that I haven't heard before that is sort of has some value. And I don't know what it means when it happens. I don't know how it works. I think if you ask any other good songwriter, he or she would say exactly the same thing. You can ask a painter or a writer, they would say the same thing. It's something that comes out of sitting there, waiting for it to happen, working on waiting for it to happen.
When we talk about the X Factor today, and I look at someone like you, there aren't many of you around, are there? I mean, I can think of Elton John. He can write, yes, play, and sing. There aren't many people who can do all three.
Well, I can't do all three. I can write and I can play. I can't sing. Well, I can sing in tune. I can do harmonies. I do on the records, but I don't have a singer's voice, I'm sorry to say. I wish I had.
No, but I mean, you can still pull off a tune, can't you?
I can sing a song, but nobody would listen. You're lucky. I mean, that's the reason. And Bjorn and I was, in the beginning, we knew we could write some good stuff. So we recorded an album, him and me, singing. And, well, he could sing a little better than I, but not much. And then we were together with the girls, Frida and Agneta, and they came in to help us out to do some backing vocals on our first album, a Swedish thing. And then we said, well, we're crazy. We should write the songs. They should sing it, you know, and we should write pop music in English. So we did. We We wrote a song called People Need Love. This is the first thing we did in 1972. Girls are singing, we're doing some backing vocals, and all of a sudden, it was all there, you know. So, very natural, and I think it's quite clever of me and Bjorn not being the vocalists of this group. Bjorn is singing. Every album, he's singing one song, just to sort of break it up a bit on the albums. I think it was good.
What I did notice in the research was Eurovision played a part in two ways. One, of course, with ABBA, but prior to that, your writing brought ABBA together, didn't it?
Absolutely, like we spoke about earlier. I mean, we were writing. We thought that we could write good songs. I mean, there came a single with the Hollies, for example, and we said, well, we can do that, you know? But nobody cared, and nobody thought we could, outside Sweden, that is. We sent out songs to publishers. Nothing was ever recorded. Yeah, Lonnie Donegan recorded one of the songs. I don't remember the title of it, something about a train station. But that was it, and nobody wanted to listen. So we said, how on earth are we going to convince people outside Sweden that we're a good bunch of people, we can do good things? And we said, well, we can enter the Eurovision, because everybody is watching the Eurovision. And if we go there, even if we don't win it, we can still play a good song that we like, and people will recognize that there is a Swedish band called ABBA. You know, and that's why we entered. Otherwise, we would not have done that.
And how did you choose the song that went on to create the beast that was ABBA?
We had two songs to choose from. We had one more of sort of more Eurovision type of thing called Hasta Mañana, which is on the same album, on the Waterloo album. And we had Waterloo and said, we want to do Waterloo because it's more like what we want to do, even if it doesn't fit into the Eurovision Song Contest. So we said, let's go with that because, you know, that's more like what we want to be. And if we don't win, it doesn't matter. It's still the song we want to do.
How do you feel when you go out on a stage and you know that it's make or break? Because Eurovision either creates something wonderful or, in many cases, ruins people's careers. Were you nervous? Were you excited? Or did you think this could be it? This is our moment?
Well, obviously, if you're in the competition, you want to win it. That's how it works. Even if you can't compete in music, it's sort of a silly thing. Nowadays, it's crazy. It's just too much, you know. And nothing ever... I don't know. Did anything good came out of Eurovision since 1974? I'm not sure. Before that, good songs came up. You know, Volare was in there. Merci Chérie was in there. I don't know. Puppet on the String is a good song. The Spanish song, Eres Tú, was a lot of good stuff coming out. Now, I don't know.
Do you think it's just there for parody and ridicule to bring us Europeans together against the rest of the world and for no other reason at all?
I don't know. I mean, it's good entertainment, isn't it? I mean, you sit there and watch it and you see those different acts from different countries doing sort of 100% everything in every number. And all the lights and all the lasers and all the cameras and it's really well-produced thing. But it's not for me, I must tell you. It's not.
Having said that, the outrageous costumes that they wear today, back in the 70s, what you were wearing was, well, revealing at the very least. When they said to you, this is what you're going to wear, what was your reaction?
No, we said what we wanted to wear. We wanted those clothes. Those clothes that we used for the Eurovision, they're really nice stuff. Take a look at them. They're good stuff. They're just it rhyme with the time, and they're kind of neat. Then we put some other stuff on occasionally that wasn't that nice. But those clothes I really like.
How did you feel when you looked in the mirror?
Good. I felt good. With high-heeled boots, with those, you know, the plateau shoes, yeah. But everybody was wearing them. You walk the streets in Stockholm or London for that matter. You were all on plateau boots. Why shouldn't we?
Do you still have those costumes?
Oh, yes. They're now with this ABBA world thing.
Are you ever tempted to try them on again and see if they still fit?
I don't think I would. Well, maybe. I'm not too far away from it. I don't know, maybe 10 pounds?
Yeah, no, I think you're doing fine. All right, we're going to come back next and talk about the musical years. We've already talked a little bit about Mamma Mia, but Christina's the new show. We'll talk about that next. We're back on your favourite local radio station talking to a legend. There's no other way of saying it. A question I want to ask you before I forget it. How does it feel to know that your music is going to be played 100 years after you're gone?
Oh, we don't know that, do we? We know it's played now. And, well, that's good enough for me, you know? We never thought. When ABBA closed down in 1982, we said, well, we might have a year, maybe two. Little money coming in from old records all over the world, and that'll be it, guys, you know? And that was not the case. And that's good enough for me. I don't know. If they're going to play these songs in another 10 years' time, great.
I can't imagine why they won't, because a bit like the Beatles still being played today, it's of its time, they're well-written songs, they're songs everybody know and love. Why would they stop playing them?
I don't know. Time changes, you know.
Were you ever influenced by the Beatles?
Oh, immensely. I mean, they were the reason I started to try to write songs. Because before the Beatles, it wasn't that obvious that there were songwriters in the world, you know. It's like the singer is the song. The Elvis record is Elvis Presley, and nobody asked about Jerry Lieber, Mike Stoller. They might be there on the record, but nobody cared. And all of a sudden, these guys came along and they wrote their own stuff. So one day I said, well, maybe one should try. You know, I can play the piano. Maybe I can write a song. And I did, and it worked.
The hedonism of being in a band like ABBA, the same as the Beatles, how does that feel when you're it for that moment and there are literally tens of thousands of people waiting to see you get off a plane? Is there any way of describing that emotion?
I don't think so. It comes with the territory, as they say. I mean, you know what's happening. You know that you sell these many records in Australia or in England or in Germany or wherever. And you know if you go there, there's going to be a little splash and there will be people around wanting to see you. You know that. And so I don't know. It doesn't feel strange. It just feels normal. I've been a pop star since I was 18 years old. I was in a Swedish rock band called the Hep Stars when the audience were really screaming at that in those days. So I'm kind of used to it, you know. I don't know what it would be like not having had that. It's very rewarding to realize that when you try to do something good, you write a song, you write Knowing Me, Knowing You, record it, it comes out, and people like it. That's the thing. That's what it's all about. To have a communication with someone else. Now, if it's 10 guys or 10,000, it doesn't really matter, I would say. But again, I mean, I'm living in a normal situation here and have been for 45 years. So I can't tell you the difference. I don't know how it is to be you or someone else. I only know how it is to be me.
And the hedonism of it, were you ever tempted by the drugs and the way that so many went from your generation?
No drugs. Little booze, but no drugs. I don't know. It never entered us, you know. We were sort of solid. We had families, kids, and we tried to behave like grown-ups.
Can you understand, though, being at the level of fame you were, that it is hard coming off stage from 30,000 people to nothing? How do you make that adjustment?
Well, you take a deep breath and you sort of, your head is sort of spinning. You've been for 2 hours on stage and you come off and you just try to sit back and have a drink and doing nothing. It depends on how you look upon yourself, right? There's a thing that's really dangerous, I think, and that's to distinguish the difference between your talent and the image of yourself and your own self. You know, if you believe that these 30,000 watching you is actually watching you instead of listening to the music you've created because of the talent you had, then I think you could be in deep trouble. And then I think it's very, very difficult to fill the hole that probably is within you, you know?
Having said that, the relationships you had in ABBA didn't last. Do you think that was possibly down to the pressure and the stress and the level of show business that you reached internationally?
Not at all. Absolutely not. I'd say the opposite. I'd say that if it hadn't been for ABBA, we wouldn't have been together that long, you know? That held us together. We had this thing going. We all enjoyed it. It was really important for all of us, the careers within ABBA, and that kept us going longer. I believe so.
Would you like to go back to 1975, let's say, just for a week to experience that again, or are you happy leaving that in the past?
No, I'm fine now. This is good, you know. I enjoy life as it is, and I enjoy what I'm doing. I have my orchestra, 16-piece band, and yeah, I want to do that. And we do that. We did this record in English because it was lying around. I've been working with them now with the fiddlers for, I don't know, 20 years, and with my band since, I don't know, what is it, 7, 8 years? And as we had those songs lying around, most of them are instrumental, so they don't need a translation. Some are in Swedish, and Bjorn translated them. So we just for the heck of it, you know, we released it, and Universal said, yeah, fine, let's do that, you know.
Seems interesting that fundamentally you're a folk artist and a folk lover, because that really is the essence of your music, yet what you're known for is pop. Does that bother you? Do you wish you'd have been a jazz artist or a folk artist or a classical artist? Because, I mean, you're all of these things if you listen to it within your music, yet you're a pop artist.
Well, to start with, I'm not an artist. I just happen to be one of the 4 members of ABBA, and I could play the piano. I'm not an artist. I can run my band, and I can be on stage, and I can talk to the audience just to feel them, make them feel comfortable and all that, but I'm not an artist. I might be almost a musician. I'm just a songwriter and a piano player on stage with, I mean, the girls are artists, but I'm not a stage artist, you know. I'm not a singer, I'm not a performer.
So that leads me to my next question then. Would you have been happy just writing these songs and being the man behind it? Is it almost irrelevant, the fact that you were on stage with ABBA for all those years?
In a way, yes. The thing is, though, you write a song, you don't give it away to someone, say, here is a song, you can do whatever you like. You have to follow it through. You have to be on top of the whole process till the end of it, you know, to make sure that it is as good as it can be according to, well, to my preferences. Could be as good with someone else doing it, but you never know. So that means that everything that I've been involved in, I've been staying sort of really close to until it's done. Even if it was Christina the musical, which is like a 3.5-hour thing, or the music for chess, or anything, you have to be in there and you have to have the last word, so the final cut of things, because otherwise you never know what's going to happen. So I don't write songs for other people, just give them away. I write songs maybe for other artists, but I want to be involved in the process.
If you had the chance to delete the records and re-record them and re-release them today, would you like to do that?
Yes, but there's no use thinking like that because it's done, you know, and you have to live with it, the bad as well as the good.
We've got your grand piano in front of us, which I'll be delighted for you to play for us in a short while from now. How do you make the piano come alive? Because it's only white and black keys, isn't it, really?
Well, I can only play my stuff, you know, I'm not good at playing other people's music. So I don't see myself as a sort of a solid musician. I have no education. I can do my stuff, and that's good enough for me.
There's one final thing I'd love you to do. Would you indulge me with a few moments on the piano and just hear you play?
Thank you for the music. It's a good tune. Not so good recording, but a good song. I don't know, is it simple?